We have been attacked. We are at war.
We're about to find out if the new president of our country is going to do what Russia wants. If the presidency is effectively a Russian op, right? If the American presidency right now is the product of collusion between the Russian intelligence services and an American campaign, I mean, that is so profoundly big. This is international warfare against our country.
We are at war with Russia. Or perhaps more correctly, we have lost a war with Russia without a battle. We are no longer a sovereign nation. We are no longer a democracy. We are no longer a free people. We are the victims of a bloodless coup. This is a reality that will become the only reality until this country rids itself of Donald John Trump. He is not a president. He is a puppet put in power by Vladimir Putin. And those who ignore these elemental existential facts, Democrats or Republicans, are traitors to this country and will immediately and forever after be held accountable.
Mueller's hearing present make or break moment for Democrats. That was the headline in the New York Times. Make or break moment. For 2 years, Democrats have waited on Robert Mueller to deliver a death blow to the Trump presidency. Wednesday's hearings with the special counsel could be their last chance. So, Aaron, I want to go over some really quickly, some real important. First of all, everyone's in agreement that it was a debacle for Mueller.
I think today underscored why people like you and me, Jimmy, have been warning from the start that this thing was baseless. There was no evidence of a Trump-Russia conspiracy, and that putting our faith in Robert Mueller to validate it and be the savior figure was just moronic and a massive political gift to Donald Trump. Yes. NBC News did a tracker, and they said that Mueller deflected or declined to answer 198 times.
Now, the whole thing started with this Steele dossier. Now, the Steele dossier was funded by the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. What does that mean, funded? So they hired a company called Fusion GPS to go dig up dirt on Donald Trump. That's called opposition research. So they hired a spy, a former spy, a foreign spy from England, Richard Steele, to go dig up dirt on him because he had ties with the people in Russia. So what Richard Steele did was he called people he knew inside the Kremlin and asked for dirt on Donald Trump, and they made up stories because Richard Steele was paying them for their stories. So that's how the dossier got put together. By the way, it's all bullshit, the dossier. Complete bullshit, completely made up, and the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton lied for a year straight to investigators. So that's where the real scandal is. Then they used that bullshit Steele dossier. They used that to get the FISA warrant on the Trump administration so they could spy on them. They used opposition research paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign to get a FISA warrant, which is highly unethical to do that.
When discussing the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting, you referenced, quote, the firm that produced the Steele reporting, unquote. The name of that firm was Fusion GPS. Is that correct?
And you're on page 103?
103, that's correct, volume 2. When you talk about the firm that produced the Steele reporting, the name of the firm that produced that was Fusion GPS. Is that correct?
I'm not familiar with that.
Let me just help you. It's not a trick question. Right? It was Fusion GPS.
So now watch this question by Mueller. First, he's gonna be asked, did your report conclude that was there any evidence of anybody from the Trump campaign colluding with anybody from the Russian government? No, there wasn't. That's what your report says, and then he agrees to that. Watch this.
Is it true the evidence gathered during your investigation did not establish that the president was involved in the underlying crime related to Russian election interference as stated in volume 1, page 7?
We found insufficient evidence of the president's culpability.
So that would be a yes.
Pardon?
That would be a yes.
Yes.
Isn't it true the evidence did not establish that the president or those close to him were involved in the charged Russian computer hacking or active measure conspiracies, or that the president otherwise had unlawful relationships with any Russian official. Volume 2, page 76.
So now he's just asking him one more time from your own report. Was there any contact whatsoever? Was there any cybercrime, any evidence of any kind of thing between Trump's administration and Russians doing any kind of nefarious? No, there wasn't, according to your report. And what does Mueller say?
Correct.
I leave the answer to the our report.
Correct.
So as a yes. Is that any true? Your investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with Russian government in the election interference activity. Volume 1, page 2, volume 1, page 173.
Thank you. Yes.
Again. Now, because your investigation found no evidence of anything. Correct. Yes.
Collusion is not a specific offense or a term of art in the federal criminal law. Conspiracy is.
Yes.
In the colloquial context, known public context, collusion and conspiracy are essentially synonymous terms, correct?
No.
If no, on page 180 of volume 1 of your report, you wrote, as defined in legal dictionaries, collusion is largely synonymous with conspiracy, as that crime is set forth in the General Federal Conspiracy Statute 18 U.S.C. 371.
So he just asked him, is collusion and conspiracy considered the similar or synonyms colloquially? And Robert Mueller just said, no, they are not. He goes, well, in your frickin' report, you say they are considered synonyms and the same thing in legal parlance. You say it in your report, and now you're saying completely something different in your testimony. And my question would be, why are you lying? But that's not his question, but let's watch.
You said at your May 29th press conference and here today, you choose your words carefully. Are you sitting here today testifying something different than what your report states?
Well, what I'm asking is if you can give me the citation, I can look at the citation.
He's pretending to not know the question. Again, I know he's lying and full of shit, and you know how I know? Because I understand the question. That's why. And I already smoked pot this morning. I understand the question. So that's how I know Robert Mueller understands the question, and he's fucking lying. Okay, here we go.
And evaluate whether it is.
Okay, let me just be clarified. You stated that you would stay within the report. I just stated your report back to you. And you said that collusion and conspiracy were not synonymous terms. That was your answer, was no.
That's correct.
In that, page 180 of volume 1 of your report, it says, as defined in legal dictionaries, collusion is largely synonymous with conspiracy, as that crime is set forth in General Conspiracy Statute 18 U.S.C. 371. Now, you said you chose your words carefully. Are you contradicting your report right now?
Not when I read it.
So this was the book that was written right after the campaign, and it tells you exactly where the Russiagate comes from, okay? So this is from that book. It says the strategy had been set within a 24 hours of her concession speech. Robbie Mook and Podesta assembled her communications team at the Brooklyn headquarters to engineer the case that the election wasn't entirely on the up and up. For a couple of hours, with Shake Shack containers littering the room, they went over the script that would pitch to the press and to the public. Already, Russian hacking was the centerpiece of the argument.
That's right.
Everyone,
that's where it all begins.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, Jimmy, that's what it all comes from. And unfortunately, too many people got enrolled in what was an exercise by the failed Clinton camp to deflect blame for their loss, to blame Russia, to concoct a conspiracy theory, and make that the way to resist Trump, not present a real viable alternative to Trump and to the neoliberal Democrats that he defeated, because that is the way to beat him, not through a conspiracy fantasy, but through being an actual opposition party, which means challenging the corporate sectors that neoliberal Democrats are beholden to. And there's a refusal to do that because that would threaten their own privileged position and their own policies and their own legacy. And so instead we got Russiagate instead. And look where it brought us today. Just another humiliation and a massive dud.
So, Aaron, don't you think what is exactly happening is what Russiagate has done? Russiagate has been an evidence-free red-baiting conspiracy theory, and it was concocted. One of the big reasons was to distract people away from the real reason that they lost to a game show host and a political novice. That was the big reason. Of course, the news also liked it because it got ratings. Trump, Russia, it's just like war. It gets ratings. The intelligence community liked it because it helps ramp up more. And the military-industrial complex, intelligence, it ramps up more money for defense budgets, hundreds of billions of dollars, right? And so we're peace is not good for those people. So it served a lot of interests. It's right out there. It's an evidence-free, red-baiting conspiracy theory designed to distract us from the real causes of why Donald Trump became president. That's what Russiagate is.